When a lot of people think of the drug war and drug dealers, you think of corner boys and The Wire, the Avon and Stringer type situation. When in reality, it's all legal. The biggest threat when it comes to the proliferation of drugs in the United States, the biggest problem comes from the people that we trust the most, at least when it comes to our health. And this is a really interesting story coming to us from NBC News. Johnson & Johnson must pay over $572 million for its role in Oklahoma opioid crisis, judge rules. Now, here's the thing. Johnson & Johnson is worth billions, okay? It's basically like if you, let's say you got $10,000 in the bank and you get fined $50. You'll be okay. It's not the worst thing in the world that happened to you. And that's really no different in this scenario, but it's also good to see that, the courts, at least this court here in Oklahoma, actually acknowledge that, the opioid crisis, it wasn't caused by drug dealers, quote unquote. It was caused by pharmaceutical companies. Oklahoma's Attorney General claimed that the company marketed opioids to doctors while downplaying the risk of the addictive painkillers since the 1990s. Yeah. I mean, they have been selling doctors. Doctors get residuals, So it's like, hey, put this out there, push this real hard, and make sure that like this medicine gets into the patient's hands. Who cares what it does to them? But we'll make sure that you're paid. And you got people, and my mother was one of them, who just sit there and listen to whatever the doctor tell them. And more painkillers. This is written by Doa Madani. An Oklahoma judge on Monday ordered Johnson & Johnson to pay over $572 million for pushing doctors to prescribe opioids while downplaying the risk of addiction. Actions that state prosecutors said helped fuel the state's opioid epidemic, handled to more than 6,000 deaths over nearly 2 decades. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter claimed in court that the sales pitch by Johnson & Johnson and its pharmaceutical subsidiary, Janssen, starting in the 1990s, had created a public nuisance that led to the deaths. J&J denied any wrongdoing, and its attorney, John Sparks, said state prosecutors had misinterpreted the public nuisance law, having previously limited it to disputes involving property or public spaces. Cleveland County District Judge Thad Balkman disagreed and said that Johnson & Johnson's misleading marketing and promotion of opioids created a nuisance in the state. I couldn't agree more. Go get him, Mr. Balkman. The opioid crisis has ravaged the state of Oklahoma. It must be abated immediately, Balkman said in court Monday. For this reason, I'm entering an abatement plan that consists of costs totaling $572,102,028 to immediately remediate the nuisance. Michael Ullman, the company's executive vice president and general counsel, said in a statement that J&J did not create the opioid crisis in Oklahoma and plans to appeal the decision. Of course they would. This judgment is a misapplication of public nuisance law that has already been rejected by judges in other states, Ullman said. The unprecedented award for the state's abatement plan has sweeping ramifications for many industries and bears no relation to the company's medicines or conduct. In Balkman's full written decision, he stated that the pharmaceutical company's sales program was designed to reach doctors multiple times throughout their careers. J&J pushed an education program through sales representatives, funded articles in medical journals, and paid speakers. Yeah, and those sales reps are like these just phenomenally gorgeous women that walk in. Like I think Heather Locklear played a pharmaceutical rep in on Scrubs, but yeah, that's not really too different. I worked in a hospital. I've seen this firsthand, guys. They be bad as hell. It's why I have a 35% rule, because I know that I am completely blinded when it comes to having a beautiful woman in front of me. She say, "Hey, could you cut off your left foot?" Hey, whatever you want, baby, I got you. None of these programs properly addressed the risk of addiction, and there was no training provided to sales representatives on the history of opioid use or addiction according to the court's rulings. The defendant's opioid marketing in its multitude of forms was false, deceptive, and misleading, according to the written decision. The case was seen as a litmus test for nearly 2,000 pending opioid cases before a federal judge in Ohio, especially as other pharmaceutical companies faced with similar accusations have chosen to settle. Purdue Pharma, had the privately held maker of OxyContin that has faced the brunt of the blame for the nationwide opioid epidemic, scripts, prescription pills, reached a $270 million settlement with the Oklahoma Attorney General's office in March. Oklahoma had also settled with Teva Pharmaceutical for $85 million, just days before it went to trial against the Israeli opioid manufacturer in Cleveland County. Both companies denied any wrongdoing. Hunter pushed the judge to force J&J to pay the state $17 billion, which would be put toward addiction treatment and prevention programs over the next 30 years. Balkman's verdict only granted a year's worth of the estimated cost for the program, $17 billion. Yeah, that's a chunk, right? The judge's written decision said that the state failed to present sufficient evidence of what time and cost would be necessary beyond the first year of the program. During the trial, Hunter claimed that J&J and other pharmaceutical companies rushed to produce a magic pill in their pursuit of profits, while ignoring decades of scientific research that showed the dangers of opioids. The judge heard testimony from victims of the crisis, including a father of a college football player who died of a drug overdose. They embarked on a cynical, deceitful, multi-billion-dollar brainwashing campaign to establish opioid as the magic drug. Hunter told the court, "Money may not be the root of evil, but money can make people in business do bad things, very bad things." Hunter said Monday that his team of prosecutors proved J&J built its billion-dollar brand out of greed and on the backs of pain and suffering of innocent people. Throughout the trial, our team proved that we have alleged what we've alleged all along, that the company used pseudoscience and misleading information that downplayed the risk of opioids, leading to the worst man-made public nuisance this state and our country has ever seen, the opioid crisis, he said. And that is Doa, who is, she had 35% of herself. She's not hard on the eyes, I'll tell you that much. And it's a well-written article. Very well written article. And like I've been saying for years now, if you when they can't get any more prescription pills, that's when they turn to the streets. And so drug dealers, at least the ones you think of, they're just cleaning up the mess that the government's made by letting these pharmaceutical companies market and advertise unregulated, and just going completely bonkers, especially when it comes to the scale, the bonus scale for doctors who write them scripts out and make sure that they get, oh man, you got your arm hurt, yeah, let me give you a bunch of OxyContin, let me give you a bunch of codeine, that's scissor, like whenever you have regulations, whatever the government's involved in, there is the inevitability of corruption and money laundering and just scheming for the most part. But it is what it is. So good on Oklahoma for going at Johnson & Johnson. They're going to appeal. I'll definitely keep an eye on this case, but definitely shout out to them, because you got a whole bunch of people sitting in jail right now, and they have all colors, white, black, green, blue, purple, who are who sold drugs and boom, and landed in the clink. But the real drug deal is these farm companies. All they do is sit on their yachts and chill. It's ridiculous. And when it's like, this is Women's Equality Day. Nah, let's make this Socio-Economic Equality Day. Jesus, man. With that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like. Dislike, yeah, go ahead, do that too. I ain't scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring, and YouTube, BitChute, can't rely on them. I can only rely on you. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Do you think 572 is too little, too much? 17 billion? Like 17 billion is what they overall are looking for, and honestly, I don't think that's enough for what's taking place when it comes to the American people and our drug culture. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until the next one.